order to get rid of the reporter, he pushed her into the subway and she died. And all you could see is a camera showing something pushed her, but they don't know who did. He got away with it, right? So there's got to be that House of Cards thing to do with this. That's just got to be.
As a duly elected state senator is known to do.
I think the YouTube Live thing is now up. I don't know. It was up earlier this morning, but it went down. 6:53, quick break, and we'll come back here. 315-736-0186 if you want to get in on this. We have Billy Joel tickets to give away. It's Ricky Z's Billy Joel Tribute Show. And Davey will take caller number 2 right now. 315-736-0186. You'll get tickets for tomorrow night, actually Friday night show at the Stanley Theater. Caller 2, 315-736-0186. Rick Zaccaro and an all-star cast of musicians performing Billy Joel songs on Friday night at the Stanley Theater.
Two very different people are running to become the next Oneida County clerk. One has made wild, false claims in her commercials, picked fights with the county executive, the county legislature, and others. She denigrates anyone who disagrees and clearly believes that her law degree has given her superpowers and the know-how to do everybody else's job. On the other side, there's Mary Finnegan, a level-headed, common-sense leader who served as clerk in the town of Whitestown for the last 17 years. She wrote and won a grant that modernized the office, made customer service a priority, and now wants to do the same for Oneida County. She will keep the Rome DMV open, and she'll work to improve the experience at all DMV locations. All this while protecting the public's private information. The fact is, there's no one better suited for this job. This election, please vote for experience. Vote Mary Finnegan, Oneida County Clerk, paid for by Friends of Mary Finnegan.
Democrats predicted an end to high inflation, but nothing has changed. In fact, food and housing prices are still going higher. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to protect your savings from inflation by diversifying into a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, simply text the word Safeguard to 989898, and you'll get a free info kit on gold IRAs that will explain everything. Again, that's Safeguard to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required.
Julie Grow Denton, longtime practicing attorney and law clerk in federal, state supreme, and county surrogate court. Julie Grow Denton, high school valedictorian, honors graduate from Bucknell and Harvard Law. Julie Grow Denton, candidate for state Supreme Court.
I'm Julie Grow Denton. Every community deserves to have judges in whom you take great pride. From an early age, my parents instilled a love of family and a strong work ethic. Born and raised near my dad's family in Rome, vacations and holidays with my mom's family in the North Country. My career has brought me to courtrooms and law offices across our region, all while raising 2 children with my husband, driving them throughout Central New York for scholastics and sports. I know our communities. I value the importance of treating others with respect. I love the law, and I will make you proud. I ask for your vote.
Elect Julie Grow Denton to State Supreme Court. Paid for by the Committee to Elect Julie Grow Denton for Supreme Court.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Oh, talking conspiracy theories this morning. We ought to do a morning just of conspiracies.
Wait, isn't that what we're doing?
I guess we are. So far, anyway. I think we're going to break away from it. But I do have to say, with Matt Castellian, and a member of the CIA, I really would like him to just be honest with us this morning. He'd gain a lot of votes if he would. Just be like, all right, here's the crap that really goes on in the world. Yes, we do this. Yes, we do this. Yes, this is true. This isn't so true. I mean, do you think he'll reveal some secrets?
No, not a chance.
Probably not. Michael says, actually, the fact is, Paul Pelosi was attacked by an owl.
That is good.
And you had to hear the previous conversation, too. The owls are attacking. We'll talk more about this. It's real. What are you playing now?
I'm sorry. That's our live stream.
I have some other. The live stream is working now. I'm apologizing right now. I don't know why it wasn't working. Julie on the traffic pattern in downtown Utica. So they want people to bypass downtown. Do they tell the business owners this? I work downtown. This new traffic pattern contests traffic through that whole area. I have a plan on extra time at rush hours. I have to now plan because of the backup at the lights. That is true. I guess I don't know why you would want to add. I'm leaning I'm leaning away from Katie Aiello on this. The more I talk to people down there. Other comments?
Bill, people always make that math mistake. This is about the line for presidency. The speaker is second in line for the presidency.
That is true.
Behind the vice president.
I read Rob's mistake. Rob, that was your mistake. They're giving me credit for it.
Bill, do you know who is third?
So you have the vice president, the House Speaker, and then third in line is ABC used to have a show where the White House blew up and everybody was at or it was the Capitol building and there was only one person left. And
Designated Survivor.
Designated Survivor. That was the show. So it's not the speaker. It was that person because the Speaker of the House, I think, died in the explosion.
Patrick Leahy, President Pro Tempore of the Senate.
Okay.
Usually referred to as President Pro Temp.
All right.
That temper thing.
That's a good one. We're going to break, though, and come back. Next hour, he is the Democratic candidate for Congress facing Elise Stefanik. Matt Castelli is going to be in studio, so we'll talk to him. Coming up.
Marcellus Blue Cross Blue Shield Studio. WIBX 950 Utica Road. W295DI Utica Road. Your news, talk, and sports leader. Town Square Media Station.
More missiles from North Korea. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. Air raid sirens went off on a South Korean island with North Korean missiles test fired in the south's direction. At least 17 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon. One landing less than 40 miles from shore, according to South Korea's military.
Soon after, the South responded by firing off some of its own into North Korean waters. The launches came after the North had made a veiled threat to use nuclear weapons, saying the U.S. and South Korea will pay the most horrible price in history. North Korea is enraged by current joint U.S. and South Korean military exercises. But White House National Security Council spokesperson Adrian Watson said the U.S. has made clear there's no hostile intent towards North Korea. Jill Nato, Fox News.
Sources tell Fox Capitol Police in Washington, D.C. were not watching the security camera video feed outside House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's home when a man broke in and attacked her husband Paul last week. Her security detail was with her in Washington, not at the house in San Francisco. Pennsylvania Supreme Court has ordered ballots mailed in with missing or incorrect dates on the envelope to be set aside and not counted. It was a split ruling.
3 of the court's justices who were elected as Democrats said they believe excluding the ballots violates federal law, which says trivial errors shouldn't disqualify a ballot. But Ronna McDaniel, chairwoman of the National Republican Committee, which brought the lawsuit, is hailing the ruling as a, quote, massive victory for Pennsylvania voters and the rule of law. Pennsylvania State Department says voters who are concerned they may have made an error should contact their county election board. Sean Lanchel, Fox News.
Members of a group monitoring ballot drop boxes in Arizona are ordered by a federal judge to stay at least 250 feet away. There have been complaints that people wearing masks, carrying guns, are intimidating voters. The order also says members of Clean Elections USA may not record or follow anyone within 75 feet of the boxes or a building with one inside, and they may not speak to anyone within that perimeter unless spoken to first. America's listening to Fox News.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Smith & Wesson is committed to empowering Americans, no matter what. With inflation hitting everywhere, we've decided to make a change. Now, you can buy a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, our most popular concealed carry firearm, at an all-new low price, $100 off MSRP. We're absorbing the costs and passing along the savings to you so you don't have to compromise on personal security. Visit smithandwesson.com to find a Shield Plus near you. Smith & Wesson, always expect the best.
Good morning. Still dealing with cloudy skies, and we have 51 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:03. This news update is brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. The race to be New York's next governor might be tighter than many expected. Republican Lee Zeldin is closing in on incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul, and pollsters say the election is going to come down to voter turnout. Right now, they say it's turning into a toss-up election. One GOP-leaning poll has Zeldin slightly ahead of Hochul. Do you buy that?
I don't buy that poll. I don't know how in the world, and I'm just being honest, I don't know how in the world Zeldin could be in the lead statewide when you have New York City. This is that our population is so different today than it was when Pataki won. Pataki pulled off a huge upset over Cuomo, right? But the demographics are so much different today. I don't buy these polls. I can't imagine that. The congressional race here in the 22nd, I think that's probably pretty accurate. I think that's a dead heat right now, and who would have thought that was the case? But you have a lot of moderate Democrats here that are looking at things much differently than they do in New York City.
Most polls still do have Hochul ahead with a wider lead.
That's the problem. We're going on a lone poll, but it was one poll that had Trump winning, if you recall, in 2016. That was the only poll that was right.
The candidates campaigning, of course, Election Day is Tuesday. Early voting is currently open. That will continue through Sunday. Election Day next Tuesday. A list of early voting locations and hours at WIBX950.com. Easy for me to say. A Chittenango man killed in a one-vehicle crash in Madison County on Tuesday. Authorities say 60-year-old Ricky Payon was traveling on North Butler Road in Smithfield when he went off the roadway and hit a tree and a ditch. He died from his injuries at the hospital. It's not clear what caused his vehicle to go off the road, but police say speed and alcohol were not factors in the accident. Also in Madison County, deputies are trying to track down those responsible for a string of recent burglaries at an elementary school. Multiple people have entered the Edward Andrews Elementary School over the last few days and taken property from the building. Authorities also say they're going into the cafeteria and just eating. They're going into the cafeteria and eating the food.
Thievery.
The crimes happened around 12:30 a.m. on October 28th. That would have been Friday. And then it happened overnight Sunday to Monday this week, and then happened Monday to Tuesday this week as well. The safety of students and staff is not considered to be at risk. It seems like someone's breaking in to enjoy a midnight snack. One person has been charged in this. Police did respond. They updated the security cameras, and they did catch a group going in. And when the police responded, they did arrest one individual. That person's name has not been released, so I wonder if they are a minor.
Right.
Anyone with information on that is asked to call the Madison County Sheriff's Office. 2 people still recovering after being hurt in an explosion in downtown Rochester. Officials say they were working to replace a live transformer behind a building known as the Gannett Building in Rochester. When the blast occurred, one person suffered burns to his face, arms, and hands. The other was not seriously injured. Power was cut to the area briefly, but was restored a short time later. SUNY campuses across New York State are now required to have life-saving opioid overdose reversal drugs on hand. Campuses must now have Narcan opioid overdose kits in dorms and train resident assistants on how to use them. The law also applies to CUNY campuses. The bill was first proposed by Senator Michelle Hinchey, who says every second counts during an opioid overdose. And another interest rate hike is expected before the end of the day today. Analysts predict a jump of 0.75 of a point is likely. The Federal Reserve has carried out a series of rate jumps in recent months in an effort to fight inflation. Goldman Sachs says the rate could be as high as 5% by March of next year. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit them today at clintontractor.net. Cloudy skies to start your Wednesday, but increasing sunshine as we head toward the afternoon. A high of 63 today. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low of 43. Sunny for Thursday, a high of 69. Sunny on Friday, a high of 69. Saturday, partly sunny, a high of 74. Sunday, clouds, chance of showers with a high of 72. Monday, mostly sunny, a high of 69. I could read that forecast all day long. Right now, 7:08, we have cloudy skies and 48 degrees. Here's Keeler with sports.
All right, last night in the World Series, Bryce Harper hit a long shot, and so did the Phillies. 5 home runs as a team. The Phillies are leading the World Series 2-1 after they blew out the Astros last night, 7-0 in Game 3. Philadelphia combined for 5 home runs as a team, including a 2-run shot from Bryce Harper in the bottom of the first inning. Big win, and it's now 2-1. Yesterday was the NFL trade deadline. Nolan Arenado is headlining the winners of this year's Golden Glove. Sorry, I'm going to stay with baseball. Golden Glove Awards. The Cardinals' third baseman earned his 10th straight. Now to the trade deadline. The Dolphins are loading up their pass rush with a blockbuster trade. Miami sent a 2023 first-round draft pick, a 2024 fourth-rounder, and running back Chase Edmonds to the Broncos in exchange for linebacker Bradley Chubb and a 2025 fifth-round pick. Chubb had led Denver with 5.5 sacks this season, is expected to work out a long-term deal with the Dolphins, according to ESPN. What else do I have? Multiple reports say the Brooklyn Nets are planning to hire Ime Udoka as their next head coach. Udoka was suspended by the Boston Celtics for the entire season after finding he had an improper relationship with a female team employee. The Nets and head coach Steve Nash part of is allowing Udoka to leave the team to take the Nets job.
They say he's being allowed to leave the team, but didn't he lose his job?
Or
is he
there's probably
suspended?
a contract. There's probably a contract deal and a no-compete, something like that. Davey can tell you.
He was suspended because they claimed that he was having.
Well, we know that.
He admits to that. I just thought he was.
He was suspended, but he can talk with any team if any team wants to hire him as a coach.
And the Comets play tonight at home. They'll be hosting the Providence Bruins at the Adirondack Bank Center. Puck drops at 7 o'clock.
I'm going to make a bizarre point. Will you bear with me for a minute here?
Okay.
The situation with Ime Udoka, formerly the head coach or suspended head coach of the Boston Celtics, I'm not commenting on what the allegations are, whether it's right or wrong. Don't misunderstand me. I just feel like I'm confused as to how this often plays out, and I'll give you another example because this happens many times. He's accused of having a relationship with a staffer. Whether or not that happened, I don't know. He's been suspended, right? There is an action. Well, what happens is another team just swoops in and says, hey, he's a good coach. We'll take him. And then he's the coach of another team. Another example.
Is this a way of just getting rid of somebody you want to get rid of?
Well, I don't know. I think sometimes it puts a team in a position where they have to get rid of somebody they don't necessarily want to get rid of. There was an alleged domestic incident with, who was the Chiefs running back?
Kareem Hunt?
Kareem Hunt. He was, a very good, talented running back, was at the time one of the best in the league statistically, got into an alleged incident off the field, so the team, under a ton of pressure, releases him. Like 2 days later, another team comes in and signs him, and nobody puts pressure on the new team. How can you have such a horrible person on your team? So basically my point is, if you get in trouble doing something where you are currently, they are forced to fire you or get rid of you, but then the next day someone comes in and signs you, and then the story goes away.
Yeah.
Do you think that's odd as well?
Well, first of all, if he was having an inappropriate relationship with a female staffer, I find that's kind of it's not like there was a non-consensual relationship going on. It's not like he did something sexist or the two of them ended up hooking up. And while there may be a policy there, almost seems to me like, instead of looking the other way on a relationship, they decided to use this technicality in his contract to get rid of him.
But again, he's well liked.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
It was the same thing with the running back Smitty mentioned. He was having a very good year, and again, I'm not condoning anything he allegedly did, and I'm not saying it happened or it didn't happen. But you see it all the time. There's this rush to, they've got to cut him. They got to get rid of him. They got to do something with this problem. They cut him, and then the next day another team signs him, and it's like, okay, that's fine. It's almost like if I wanted to get my rival's best player, I would make up a rumor about their best player and then hope they had to cut him loose and I could just sign him.
And I just this whole thing about the inappropriate relationship, though, don't you find that being a weak?
I do.
I mean, you're guilty of it.
Yes.
I mean, you married somebody here.
Yeah.
I married somebody that I worked with.
Yeah. It happened with the guy at CNN too. I'll never understand that.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Not alleged. He admitted it. She admitted it. They were in a consensual relationship.
Consensual. And it's like, well, there'll be none of that here. I mean, you're expecting people to work together every day and socialize together every day and then all of a sudden there's not going to be, some people that are going to,
I think Bill Maher actually made a little joke about this the other day. He said something along the lines of, we spend so much time now. Nobody goes out anymore. We spend so much time now either at work or at home.
Right. Your only
Where
chance.
else are you going to meet somebody?
You're right.
And how else would you know if they're employed?
We also spend so much time in everybody else's business.
Yeah.
Just mind your own business. Yeah. Whatever happened to that? Apparently we don't. So I don't know the details of whatever relationship went on there, but based on the charge, it seems kind of minuscule to me. And the Nets are like, bring him over here. Everybody's sleeping with everybody over here. We're in New York. I mean, we're okay with it. You Puritans there in Massachusetts. Far from Puritans, by the way. Okay, I got a break. By the way, Fat Cats Comedy Club will give you a chance to win tickets. Table for 6 coming up as part of our free money question of the day. I have a doozy of a question. This question, I'm just giving some hints. The answer to this question blew my mind when my wife gave it to me last night. The question. We'll also give you a chance.
Bill,
this
did
question
you take the garbage out?
Is so good. And it's an amazing factoid that is out. I'm going to give a little clue. It's out in the news, in like entertainment news. It's out in entertainment news right now. If you haven't seen it, it's out in entertainment news. That's my clue. But it's phenomenal. It's an amazing question that I'm going to ask this morning. And I'm even hurting my arm, patting myself on the back over it. Although it really wasn't me, it was my wife's question. Also, 72 Tavern and Grill at the Adirondack Bank Center. We'll give you a chance to win there. We'll also, and by the way, Comets are home tonight. Be a great time to take advantage of a $25 gift card there. In addition, we have tickets to the Billy Joel Tribute Show Friday night with Ricky Z and the all-star band of incredible musicians, including Greeley Ford and Mark from Big Apple Music and so many others. That's Friday night. So on top of that, you could be joining with another, 3 or 4 people who in the last couple of weeks have won $106.90 from Hobica. So we give his money away, and on top of it, you get a chance to win some other stuff. By the way, Fat Cats Comedy Club this weekend, he'll be in studio Friday morning. Eric Grady you got to look this guy up. He is hilarious. He's the headlining comedian this weekend at Fat Cats Comedy Club. And he is known as the world's tallest stand-up comedian. The world's tallest. He's funny, but he's also the world's tallest stand-up comedian.
How tall?
He's very tall. We'll let him explain. All I can tell you is you're going to have to adjust the cameras on Friday for YouTube Live. I'm just telling you. The world's tallest stand-up comic, Eric Grady, will be in studio and at Fat Cats Comedy Club this weekend. And we'll give you a chance to win some tickets later on in the hour. All right, let me break. 7:16 coming up. We'll talk to Dr. Kent Hall from MVHS.
This year, we, the people of Oneida County, have a choice. We can bow down to the political establishment, or we can stand up on our own 2 feet. I'm Marima Smagic Oren. The race for Oneida County Clerk is more than just another election. It's a fight to decide who runs this county, the people or the politicians. Mary Finnegan's made her choice. She's the establishment's candidate, taking orders from the establishment's bosses. The difference between Mary Finnegan and me? She's running because she'll do what Tony Picenti tells her to do. I'm running because I know what to do. I'm an attorney and a real estate professional who works with the county clerk's office day in and day out. I'm a lawyer who knows the clerk is indispensable to New York State Supreme Court. My opponent files dog licenses and hands out parking permits. I deal with deeds, mortgages, and Supreme Court judges. I'm Marima Smagic Oren. I put people over politics. Paid for by the friends of Marima Smagic Oren.
Is there any better gift than a great night's sleep? That's what you get from sheets so soft and so luxurious they're loved by millions of Americans, including 3 U.S. presidents. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Bowl & Branch. Our best-selling signature sheets are buttery, breathable, and get softer with every wash. And they don't just feel incredible, they're made from scratch with the finest 100% organic cotton and completely free from toxins. Everyone can sleep better knowing that their bedding is made better at every step. Right now, you can shop our signature event for 20% off our signature sheets and duvet sets when you use promo code ENJOY at bowlandbranch.com. See site for details. So hurry to bowlandbranch.com to get your best night's sleep. That's spelled BOLLAND branch.com, promo code ENJOY. bowlandbranch.com, promo code ENJOY.
Every day at NBT Bank, we focus our business around all the ways we can help yours. We're large enough to offer leading business and digital solutions, but local enough to ensure personalized one-on-one service. So turn to NBT Bank for a full range of business solutions, like capital and treasury management services, even fraud protection, and see how NBT Bank is just the right size to help you do big things. Visit nbtbank.com to learn more and start a conversation. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At EasyCater, food for work is our thing. Maybe that's why we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. So what's up with the other 7%?
Everyone, meet our newest employee, Susan. She has an idea that is going to revolutionize our food ordering.
Hi, Susan. So nice to meet you.
Unfortunately, she just gave her notice, and today is her last day.
I'm gonna miss her.
Why don't all companies order through EasyCater? Who knows? Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on EasyCater.com. EasyCater, food for work. It's our thing.
The Assembly Chamber in the state capitol is called the People's House. For most, that's just a catchy political phrase. But for Assemblywoman Marianne Buttonshawn, it's a promise. Marianne Buttonshawn brings the people's ideas, your ideas, to Albany and turns them into law. A constituent from Rome inspired a new law reducing the theft of catalytic converters. A stricken Utica family inspired Bianca's law, prohibiting the exploitation of hurtful, graphic, violent images on the internet. Revere Copper, new antimicrobial copper, would decrease the spread of COVID-19. So Marianne introduced a bill requiring copper fixtures in all taxpayer-funded projects. Like you, Marianne Buttonshawn shows up for work. She's never missed a session roll call or committee meeting. Like you, Marianne listens. Her office answers 5,000 phone calls and emails a year. Marianne Buttonshawn brings your values and your voice to the state assembly. That's why the friends of Marianne Buttonshawn paid for this message.
Injury crash, 2-door, 4-door, SUV, motorcycle, big truck. At William Attar, we're New York's largest motor vehicle accident firm, helping those injured in New York State. If a crash caused the death of a loved one, call William Attar, the largest motor vehicle accident firm in the state. Call William Attar, 315-444-4444, South State Street, Syracuse, 315-444-4444.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, it's 7:21 on the line right now on this Wednesday morning. By the way, a mild day and more mild weather on the way, with temperatures end of the week and into the weekend into the low to mid 70s. As my mother would say, this is why people are getting sick. Temperatures going up and down. This is why people are getting sick. Is there any truth to that, Dr. Hall? Dr. Kent Hall from MVHS. With temperatures going up and down, although we've had more up than down, is that do people get sick because of that?
People do not get sick because of rise and fall of the temperatures. They get sick because the fall in temperature causes them to go inside, and therefore they're exposed more to the respiratory viruses. But in general,
so you're calling my mother a liar. That's how we'll start this out. I can't believe it.
I guess I would respectfully say I think that she was a very smart woman who maybe was misinformed.
All right, fair enough. That's the other thing, too. If you better put your hat on, you're going to get a cold. That's not true either, right?
No, however, your head does cause you to lose a fair amount of heat, and you can become hypothermic if you are out in the cold without a hat.
I'm trying to think of other things.
I've got one for you, Doc. If I keep holding my face this way, will it get stuck like that?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Sorry.
Probably not, but I don't recommend that you hold your face in any particular way for an extended period of time because your muscles will get sore and it will just be uncomfortable.
I do think that that people who smoke a lot, it does affect their.
Why
mouthful.
are you looking at Davey?
I'm just saying, it just affects their mouthful region a little bit. Like you'll see wrinkles. It affects the complexion. It affects the skin. It affects everything, I think.
Yeah, so smoking does a lot of bad things, and some of it is related to the effect that it has on blood flow to various organs.
Okay.
And so, is it also related to the fact that when you put something in your mouth, you necessarily kind of pucker your lips? I've never seen anything scientific about that, but certainly, the smoke itself is pretty dangerous.
Here's another one that's completely whacked out. You got to wash your hands or you'll get COVID. I mean, give me a break.
Not get it, give it.
You're right. Give it. That's a very good point. Spread it around. Okay, Doc, there are some interesting news stories out there. I want to start with we are this election has a lot to do. There are some candidates out there that are talking about how the restrictions were too stringent during COVID, and I think when we look back, we probably would all agree that some of what was done maybe was done out of fear, and if we had to do it all over again, we might have done it much differently. However, our restrictions were nothing compared to some other countries, including China. And the latest reaction by China with an outbreak of COVID is unbelievable. The Shanghai Disney, has blocked visitors from leaving the park.
Okay.
Because of a COVID outbreak. So, Doc, you can talk about this just a little bit. A COVID outbreak occurs. They end up blocking it off and telling people they can't leave the park. They have to stay there until they get 3 straight negative tests. Boy, talk about it's hard for us to comprehend based on the freedoms that we have in this country.
Yeah, well, obviously there's a lot that related to the cultural differences. So I would say, going back to what you said at the beginning, I think hindsight is always 20/20, and what was not fully understood and therefore really couldn't be taken into account is not so much the positive effects of how we managed or how we managed the pandemic, but really the negative effects. I look at from an infectious disease standpoint, I look at the fact that we mandated masking, and all of a sudden, not only did we mitigate the effect of COVID spread, but we also significantly decreased flu. And so that is both in the winter of 2021 and in the winter of 2022, or 21-22. So that to me is the positive effects. The negative effects of going to homeschooling or hybrid schooling when we weren't prepared for it. I think we are seeing the manifesting of that in in the standardized test scores, et cetera. So I think that going forward, I think what I would like to see as a citizen is that we learn from this and say, okay, what do we need? If we have another pandemic, and we need to do things to protect the population from this, from the spread of this disease, whatever it is, what can we learn in terms of, if we're isolating people and we're saying that, it may not be great for kids to be in school, how are we going to make sure that they get their education? What can we put in place now so that transition is not as harsh and as difficult for them?
Yeah.
And I'm not an educator, so I don't know I am an educator, but I am not a primary school educator, so
right.
I don't know the full answer to it.
Speaking of that, I mean, I heard somebody the other day complaining that their kid was sent home from school. And it wasn't even COVID. I didn't know how to react. So let me get this straight. So you're not going to send your kid to school if they have COVID. But if they have something else, you're okay with sending your kid to school. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. I believe it's Orange County, California, has just declared a state of emergency there because of various viruses have caused such a problem in especially school districts, whether it be RSV, it be the flu, or COVID, or something else. It almost seems like we're dealing with a collection of things this year that include COVID, at least preliminarily going into the winter season. But if you're sick, it doesn't have to be COVID. Don't send your kid to school if your kid is sick.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right there. And in fact, I would take it one step further. And we've talked about this a little bit in the past. Back in 2017, 2018, 2019, I'm sure I know that if I was sick with a respiratory infection of some kind, I would still come to work because we have a work ethic and we go to work.
Right.
Now, I would probably not do that, whether I tested positive for COVID or not, because what we've learned through this pandemic is that respiratory diseases spread, and and they can be dangerous to certain people in the population. They may not be dangerous to me or to you, or faster. You'll allow your immune system. Yeah. To give it more energy, and you'll also protect your colleagues and friends.
This is an interesting thing, and you kind of wonder the doomsday picture. It won't be Russia or Iran, or although they're saying an attack from Iran is imminent. That's a very interesting news story out there. Right now. But it'll be a virus. And listen to this. We're dealing with RSV. We're dealing with RSV right now, which is a problem, and I'd like you to talk about that individually. And then there's the fear of the flu. But now scientists are saying there's a combination of flu and RSV. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have. So that's an interesting thing. It's been done in the lab. Not sure that it's actually been found outside of the lab, but they have been able to incubate both RSV and flu virus in lung tissue, and instead of competing with each other, which is what usually happens with infectious diseases, whether it's viruses or bacteria, is that one kind of overcomes the other. These actually combined from a genetic standpoint and became basically a different virus. So that is an interesting, theoretical lab possibility. I'm not sure, again, how it translates to, out in the native world, because I haven't seen that.
Okay.
And I haven't seen any reports of it, nor have I. Obviously, without any reports, then there isn't a lot of information.
What are your COVID numbers right now, by the way?
So as of yesterday, the Mohawk Valley Health System had 20 patients in the hospital that had COVID. So our numbers have gone down. About 3 weeks ago, we had 50.
Wow, I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, so we have had a decline in COVID numbers. We continue to have a pretty high census overall, and again, similar to what you were talking about, a lot of respiratory problems. I can tell you that my colleagues, I was talking to one of my colleagues at Upstate just last evening, and their pediatric emergency department is being inundated with patients with kids that have respiratory infections. Not all COVID, some RSV, some the flu, but they are really struggling to manage what is a significant increase in kids needing emergency department care and resulting in needing to be admitted to the hospital.
It's the scariest thing in the world when you have a young child and they go through this stuff here. I'm going to ask you with one final one.
Yes, from a listener. They want to know if you can get, forgive me on the pronunciation, is it Guillain-Barré syndrome from COVID-19? Our caller has it.
So Guillain-Barré is a neurologic condition. It is not I have not seen any studies or any cases or any reports of cases of Guillain-Barré related to native COVID infection. I will say that Guillain-Barré exists, and it is caused, it is caused by some viral infections. It has a very low rate in the community, and so you really have to look at a large population to see if the rate is increased for people that are infected with one particular virus. I have not seen data that COVID itself causes that. Doesn't mean it doesn't. It just means that I haven't seen that data. I will certainly look for it and see what I can find.
What is it, by the way?
Guillain-Barré is basically what's called an ascending paralysis. So it causes dysfunction in the motor neurons, which results in paralysis. It usually starts in the legs and kind of up. And, in most instances, it actually then retreats back down, although in some cases there can be long-term paralysis or at least weakness.
Is it like a Bell's palsy?
It's similar. Yeah, you can think of it in the same vein, although instead of affecting just one peripheral nerve, it actually affects more the central nervous system. And so, like I said, it'll start in the distal, so in the legs, and it kind of ascends up.
Okay. It's a problem with the French language. It's like, I'll take the filet with a Guillain-Barré sauce, please. The names that are bad sound good in French. It's just the worst language in the world for that. You got to be like English, where we give names there's a bad name out there and it sounds bad.
Yes.
Not in French. Everything sounds wonderful. Doc, thank you as always. We appreciate it, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. We'll do this again next week.
Sounds good, everybody. Have a great day. Please be safe.
Thanks, Doc.
You did the
care.
same. Anything else?
Comment here from FX. China, although he said Chiba, China may keep you at Disney, but here in the USA, we force all healthcare workers to take an experimental vaccine, and if they don't, they get fired. Then find out masks prevent COVID and the flu, and never call them back. It's a comment from a listener.
Okay. Got a break. I have a great question for our free money question of the day. This is a really good question. And this is the type of question where even if you don't play the contest, you'll be like, I'm so glad I was here to learn this. That's really cool. Kind of a cool thing. It's from the category in the news. In the news, in the entertainment department, in the entertainment news. Davey, we're going to go with caller number what?
4, Bill.
Caller 4 on the lines. Let's give you a shot. I have a whole bunch of stuff to give away, whether you win the cash or not. Good stuff here this morning. Caller number 4. We'll come right back and do it. 315-736-0186. Chance to win cash from Hobica and WIBX. And then in studio, he's a congressional candidate. This would cover Herkimer County. Matt Castelli is in studio making a final plea here to have you cast your vote for him. He is a Democrat challenging Elise Stefanik. I got a bunch of questions people have already sent in. We'll hit him with all of them. And he is former CIA. We'll speak with Matt Castelli coming up in a few. All right. Free money question is coming right up next to WIBX.
Mark Rose's experience is unique. City Court Judge in Little Falls for the last 14 years. Visiting judge for Utica. As a 30-year practicing attorney, Mark Rose has argued cases at all levels up to the Court of Appeals. He's served as a municipal attorney in towns and villages across New York's 5th Judicial District. And now Mark Rose is running for state Supreme Court to serve all of us. Experience, integrity. Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Market declines, unemployment, the COVID-19 pandemic. Today's headlines can be scary. Edward Jones financial advisor Kyle Velt can help. He'll work with you to help you understand the impact of short-term events and how to prepare for the long term. Edward Jones provides the tools for a reasoned, disciplined approach to investing. Don't let headlines derail your long-term financial strategy. Call 315-361-4727 or find Kyle on his Facebook, LinkedIn, or edwardjones.com website. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This year, we, the people of Oneida County, have a choice. We can bow down to the political establishment, or we can stand up on our own 2 feet. I'm Marima Smagic Oren. The race for Oneida County Clerk is more than just another election. It's a fight to decide who runs this county, the people or the politicians. Mary Finnegan's made her choice. She's the establishment's candidate, taking orders from the establishment's bosses. The difference between Mary Finnegan and me? She's running because she'll do what Tony Picenti tells her to do. I'm running because I know what to do. I'm an attorney and a real estate professional who works with the county clerk's office day in and day out. I'm a lawyer who knows the clerk is indispensable to New York State Supreme Court. My opponent files dog licenses and hands out parking permits. I deal with deeds, mortgages, and Supreme Court judges. I'm Marima Smagic Oren. I put people over politics. Paid for by the Friends of Marima Smagic Oren.
Is your prostate secretly being destroyed without you knowing it? All the ads for these prostate pills like Super Beta Prostate, Saw Palmetto, ProstaStream, Prostagenics, and others. Want to know which pills work and which are garbage? Now you can. Get a free copy of the new guide, Prostate Secrets, that pulls back the curtain on the prostate pill industry. Learn what is really in these pills. Which pill has over 987 adverse event reports filed against it with the FDA? It's shocking. Learn the one food to avoid that is a prostate killer, and discover the 3 so-called health foods that destroy your prostate. Get your free copy at prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com. This free guide will show you how to end your prostate problems without drugs or surgery, 5 important things to do to protect your prostate, and much more. Warning, this guide is controversial and may be offensive to some readers as it pulls no punches. So go to prostatesecrets.com. Prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, portions of the program today brought to you by Daylight Donuts. Chuck Sedella and everybody over there. A speedy drive-through. And you know we're getting we're the lattes, whether it's pumpkin or 13 or 14 other flavors. So delicious. Seattle's best coffee, and the drive-through is lightning fast, whether it's bagels, fresh, delicious bagels, donuts, breakfast sandwiches, or the coffee. It's Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. Chuck Sedella holds court there every single day. Daylight Donuts. Okay, let's do our free money question of the day. Hillary is on the line from Utica right now. Good morning, Hillary. How are you?
Good. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Are you ready to do this thing?
I am.
I have a whole bunch on the line here for you. Some really great consolations, but you really want the cash, though, right?
Yes, I would like some cash.
Yeah, a little cash. It's $106.90 from the Hobica Law Firm, Joseph and Andrew Hobica, at 315-724-1600. And I have a whole bunch of other things, too, but let's try to get the cash. So here is your question. You're going to have 7 seconds to answer. Are you ready, Hillary?
Yes.
All right, here is your question. This is from the category In the News, Entertainment News. In the News. This was just a recent interview that's posted everywhere. When Julia Roberts was born in Atlanta, Georgia, who paid the hospital bill? Ready, go.
Oh, no.
This is you'd have to have known this. I mean, throw something out. Johnny Rocket. Was it Johnny Rocket? No, it was not.
It was Morgan Freeman.
Close. It was Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife.
You're kidding.
It's an amazing story. So do you have a second to hear this story, Hillary?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's hear it.
You never would have guessed that. Unless you saw it in the news. It's recently in the news. Here she is being interviewed by Gail King. Listen to this interview.
Most people don't know this about you. You're brushed with, let's start with the day you were born. Who paid for the hospital bill?
Okay.
Her research is very good. We're professionals. This is the King family paid for my hospital bill.
Not my family.
Not your family, but
Martin Luther King Jr.
and Coretta.
And how did that come about?
Well,
did you guys know that about Julia Roberts? That's what I said. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King Jr. Why did they do that? Because your dad, Walter Roberts.
Yes, and obviously because my parents couldn't pay for the hospital bill. My parents had a theater school in Atlanta called the Actors and Writers Workshop. And one day, Coretta Scott King called my mother and asked if her kids could be part of the school because they were having a hard time finding a place that would accept her kids. And my mom was like...
So it goes on. But obviously, at that time... black children, white children didn't go to theater school together, but the family of Julia Roberts, her parents were like, absolutely. They welcomed their kids in, and they became great friends, but they couldn't, they were poor actors. Couldn't afford the hospital bill. It was Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife who paid the bill. Isn't that wild?
That's incredible.
And their kids went to theater school for free, so pretty cool. Hillary, it's not cool for you, though, right? Because you didn't know the answer.
No, it's not cool for me.
But I will give you, we're going to give you a $25 gift card to the 72 Tavern and Grill at the Adirondack Bank Center. I'll give you a table for 6. Pick any show this weekend at Fat Cats Comedy Club. And also, Friday night at the Stanley Theater, Billy Joel Tribute Show. Ricky Z and everybody over there. It's an awesome show. We'll give you tickets to that as well. Stand by. Davey's going to hook you up. You win more for losing around here.
I think so. I think so. I would have to agree with that.
Yep. Davey's going to take care of you. Thank you, Hillary. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thanks. Now, in studio right now is Matt Castilli. And Matt, you knew the answer, didn't you? I saw you shake your... Because he's former CIA. He knows everything, right? Matt Castelli is running for Congress, running against Elise Stefanik. And I guess I'll throw it right at you. Do you think you have a shot at winning in upstate New York?
I not only think it, I know it. We have a tremendous opportunity to build a coalition that we've been building from the very start, not just of Democrats, but independents and Republicans as well. There are a lot of folks who want to put country before party and actually start delivering on the needs of our community. We haven't had that in the last 8 years with our current representative. She's been focused on investing in her future, not ours. And folks are ready for a change. And so I think we might buck the trends that might exist elsewhere in the state because we're focused on coming together. I think folks want to elevate and restore a voice, what I'm calling the great moderate majority. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of folks in the middle that just feel like they don't have a voice anymore. We see the far left and the far right really dominating our political discourse, and they're excited to join behind our campaign and deliver the win on November 8th.
It is, we are boy, are we divided. To the point now where the debate is over whether we're getting the real story about Nancy Pelosi's husband and that what occurred out there. Would you agree, based on the fact that you're former CIA, it would be an awful lot would have to fall into place for the conspiracy theories out there to be true, and we look past all of the logic, it seems. Here you have the guy who actually committed the crime admitting exactly what he was intending to do, but we don't believe him. We say it must have been more. It must be something, nefarious of some sort.
And we've certainly seen entities out there that are trying to exploit misinformation, disinformation, and in trying to take advantage of folks who might have a desire to believe that kind of information. We've even seen foreign adversaries like Russia and China exploit those divisions within our political discourse to try to take advantage of disinformation and further divide us. As someone who did formerly work for the government, I can tell you that oftentimes it is the easiest explanation is the right one. It's not the conspiracy theory. For all the things to go right, it would require government entities to be operating at a level that I can guarantee we do not operate at that level to be able to keep things as secretive as some may like.
What was your role in the CIA? What did you do?
So I was a counterterrorism official. I joined the CIA and spent about 15 years there after 9/11. I went to Siena College while I was there. 9/11 happened, put me on a path to serve my country. and was leading teams hunting down some of the world's most dangerous terrorists. Folks, I think, look at, there was a movie, Zero Dark 30, that talked about the CIA's role in helping to find Osama bin Laden. I was a part of that broader unit, and that's the kind of work that I did against comparable bad guys, particularly in Afghanistan. And I served in Afghanistan and Iraq, and that was much of my work, was hunting down after those bad guys. And that did lead to an opportunity to serve at the White House as the director for counterterrorism, doing strategy and policy work, first in the Obama White House, and then was asked to stay on by the Trump administration. I did that for about a year.
I have somebody asking, would you will you vote if Trump runs? Would you vote for Donald Trump?
I would not.
You would not.
I would not vote for Donald Trump. I think we just look at the events of January 6th and his role that we've learned about, certainly as we've seen this January 6th commission, the committee hearings reveal from members of his own inner circle, and Republicans testifying and letting us know what was going on in the White House about those actions. And I mean, you just look at the 187 minutes in which the former president did nothing while we were suffering the worst assault against law enforcement in our nation's history that led to the deaths of 5 cops, injuries of over 140 or so. That dereliction of duty, I think, would preclude anyone from legitimately holding office ever again.
How are we at a point in this country where the perception of what happened on January 6th is so very different? Really, almost I wouldn't say across the board 50%, but certainly the number is pretty significant that believes that January 6th is really being blown out of proportion.
Yeah,
and Liz Cheney, by the way, is a rhino who's when you look at policy, she's by no means a rhino at all.
Yeah,
but now is considered an enemy of Republicans and loses her opportunity to continue to serve.
Well, I think this comes back down to this concept of what is it, when one side views winning as more important than upholding certain values or elements of character. And we lose what it means to be an American. We lose what it means to uphold the Constitution. And I think people like Liz Cheney are a great example of which, country does matter more than party. And we need a lot more of that. And we're certainly seeing folks who are willing to undermine the faith and confidence in what's happening in the January 6th, committee hearings and revealing. It is an authoritative voice coming from Republicans. It's an authoritative voice coming from members of former Trump's inner circle telling us what they were doing. It was a criminal conspiracy to overthrow our government, to undermine the will of the people. And unfortunately, in this race, Congresswoman Stefanik was chief among them. She voted to overturn our votes. And even to this day, I mean, she was just asked a week ago by a local media outlet whether she, stands by that. She is unwilling to claim and certify sort of the legitimacy of the 2020 election in favor of President Biden. And when asked whether Vice President Mike Pence did the right thing in certifying the results, she refused to answer. And she took an opposite viewpoint than the former vice president. And so there's a real enduring threat to our democracy if we're not willing to acknowledge the results of a free and fair election. That is at the very heart of what it means to be a democracy, and that's the threat that's on the ballot this November.
Any Republican who has come out to say, no, I believe that Biden is the president, the corruption that occurred, while there may have been small pockets of it throughout the country, nothing at the level that would have changed the outcome of the election. Almost every one of those people have lost in their primaries. So isn't Elise Stefanik just trying to avoid the wrath of Donald Trump?
Well, listen, people used to refer to profiles and courage. It takes leadership to be able to say the thing that may be unpopular, but is still right. And that's what we lack in this race from Congresswoman Stefanik. She lacks courage. She lacks character. And that's a real challenge because it does pose this enduring threat to our democracy that we're seeing manifest all across. And this is where we see, in the primary environments that we have, this push towards those extremes. And that's why the extremes are the loudest voices. But they do no service to America. They do no service to our community in actually solving the many compelling challenges and problems that we have in front of us.
Elise Stefanik is a pretty powerful member of Congress and will be even more so, obviously, if Republicans, which is expected, take the House. That could be very beneficial for us in upstate New York. How do you combat that?
Well, it hasn't been beneficial for us for the last 8 years. She's only gotten 2 bills passed into law, commemorative coin, the renaming of a post office. That's it. And down in Washington, she's voting against our interests time and time again. So she's done very well for herself. Her career has advanced, but our district is suffering. There are a lot of challenges we're facing. And for folks who are concerned about the track that we're on as a nation or as our community, I agree. We're on the wrong track, and we're facing serious challenges, but she's part of the problem. And so we can guarantee she's going to keep advancing her own career and her own interests, but she's going to be voting against our interests. We'll take the economy as an example. You know, she has tried to falsely claim credit for dollars that have been delivered to our district because she's voted against them. But dollars have come here nevertheless on infrastructure, support for health care. But those are the kinds of things she's now proposing she's going to cut. And so we could see her proposal to devastate our economy by making huge federal spending slashes. You know, that's going to mean cops and nurses are going to lose their jobs. Rural healthcare services are going to get cut. Those broadband and infrastructure projects we need, those are going to stop, because that's the point. She wants to advance her political career at our expense. And so whether it's issues related to inflation or gas prices, the pain is the point of her proposal. She wants us to be in pain because she thinks it benefits her politically, not just in this election, but in 2024.
Can I ask you about gas prices? I saw you had a tweet yesterday about big oil, the profits they make, and the situation we're in with the economy. I think gas prices in New York, diesel prices are almost up to $6. Right. What's your take on the energy situation and the inflation that we're seeing right now?
It's a huge challenge. They're both tied together because certainly every good or service requires some mode of transportation, and that's a built-in cost there. But you can't look at these third quarter profits that these big oil companies are posting and see the high prices that we're paying and say, what the heck is going on here? And so I think, you know, I've disagreed with President Biden on a whole number of issues. I think on this one, he pointed out this week that the profiteering that's happening is wrong. And they need to produce more to try to alleviate some of the pressure and pain that we're having at the pump. The price per oil is the same that we've seen in years past, but yet we're paying $1, $2 more at the pump. Where's the disconnect? Well, the disconnect is in these record profits that big oil is raking in. And so I think that there is some opportunity for us here, even if it's just to force them to come back to the table to say we do need to fix actually producing more supply. But this actually goes all the way back to 2020. There's a tweet, because there's a tweet for everything. Former President Trump worked with Russia and Saudi Arabia to slash oil production after the pandemic had cratered demand, because they realized we need to salvage big oil's profits. How do we do this? Well, let's cut production so we can keep the price somewhat high, keep things stable. Production has never come back because shareholders in Wall Street for those big oil companies, they determined, hey, let's keep raking in these profits. Who cares about, the average Joe paying extra at the pump? We need to make sure that we're, getting extra dividends. And so the production levels have never come back up because by keeping production low, they can keep prices high. And we need to preclude ourselves from ever being held hostage to big oil ever again, or OPEC. We saw this recent decision with Saudi Arabia and Russia colluding to cut production on a global basis. It's a global commodity. And I know that's complex for people to understand, but the pricing is determined on a global marketplace. And unless we actually have real competition in that market through alternative energy sources to actually make those investments, we're always going to be in this hostage situation.
So this is the big discussion. We've had it on the show many times. To solve our energy needs, do we look at renewable, or do we keep digging for oil until we have a real good renewable solution? Where are you on more digging and more refining in the United States?
I think it's like an all of the above approach right now, right? You can't stop one and shift to the other. It would be too painful, and we're not, geared towards that. But we can't also neglect making the investments for the future. We have to improve short-term production to provide some relief at the pump right now, and this is where we put pressure on big oil to produce more. But we still need to make the long-term investments to create that diversification of our energy sector. We live in a capitalistic society. Competition drives prices lower. That's how things work. And unless people are advocating, which I am not, to take over our oil and gas industry and turn us into Venezuela, well, then we need competition in that marketplace, and that requires actual investments in alternatives.
How nervous are you about the world scene right now? We have a word of a potential imminent attack from Iran, North Korea lobbing missiles landing just off the coast of South Korea. You have Russia and Ukraine. And then there's the pullout of Iran, and I think out of the Afghanistan war, which I think we've talked about. So end with that, but let's talk about where we are right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the world is always going to be a challenging and complex landscape with different foreign adversaries that we have. I did see the news this morning that North Korea has launched, some other, missiles not far from South Korea as a belligerent act. We always got to keep an eye on those entities. Iran is also, a bad actor that needs to be isolated and cut off from the world scene. But we're also seeing some great things happening in Iran with, people protesting and standing up for their rights. Not just women, but even, men are coming together. Security forces are joining sides there. So there is this vibrancy of a potential event that may be occurring in the future. But we do have bad actors, certainly, with Russia and China. And we need to stand up to them at every stage. And I think when it comes to Ukraine, listen, Ukraine's winning now in large support due to what we have provided in terms of support, along with our NATO allies and partners. We need to keep doing that. But that's also on the ballot, I think, this November, because we've started to see some flashes of this pro-Putin wing that's been emerging and allowed to have some oxygen within the Republican Party that, Elise Stefanik sort of oversees, and to say, well, maybe our commitment won't be as ironclad. Maybe we'll give a gift, sort of to Vladimir Putin. Ukraine's winning. We need to keep that support up. And so I think this administration's done a good job in terms of marshaling that kind of support for Ukraine. You want to come back down to,
pull out of Afghanistan was clearly a debacle.
Absolutely, and I'm the first to acknowledge it. I spent much of my career focused on counterterrorism issues in Afghanistan, spent time there during my career. That's not the outcome we wanted. We wanted to make sure that we had a long-term counterterrorism presence, although to this administration's credit, they were able to remove the leader of al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri, without having a presence on the ground there. But the withdrawal itself was conducted poorly, and there's a lot of blame to go around. Certainly with this administration, and I'm always going to be country before party and critical of any member of my party when I believe it's warranted. But it also ties back to the former president and Mike Pompeo signing a surrender deal in February of 2020. And it also goes back to members of Congress. Congress is supposed to be providing oversight of the executive branch. And for the 20 years of the Afghanistan conflict, they really were asleep at the wheel, not doing their job in ensuring the long-term interests of the American people and our national security. And again, I'm going to bring it back. Unfortunately, Congresswoman Stefanik, chief among them, sits on the House Armed Services Committee. And on the 12th of May, when the Pentagon, the Biden administration, came in to give their first briefing on their proposal for withdrawing from Afghanistan, Stefanik failed to participate. You want to know what she had time to do that day? Vote Liz Cheney out of office. She's always got time for her career, but not time for our national security and our troops, even stationed out at Fort Drum.
Final plea, Matt Castelli running against Elise Stefanik. Your final plea to the voters. This is it, less than a week.
Well, I think voters understand, and I agree that we're on the wrong track. But one of the reasons we're on the wrong track is because the last 8 years we've had Congresswoman Stefanik really focused on her career and ambition and not focused on our needs. And we need somebody that we can trust to have our backs. Now, Americans have always put their trust in me. They've already done so in helping to protect our nation from terrorism. And the voters of New York 21 can trust and have confidence that I will always have their backs, that I will always put them and their families first. And I'd be asking for their vote humbly on November 8th.
I hate to ask you one more question after that close, but somebody's asking, were you recruited to run by the Democrats? Did they come to you? What prompted you to run in this district against Elise Stefanik?
Yeah, well, I entered this race out of a sense of duty. And certainly nobody recruited me. We worked hard to build a campaign from scratch, and I'm really honored by the support we've received, not just from Democrats locally, but independents and Republicans as well, because I believe that Congresswoman Stefanik represents not just an enduring threat to our democracies that we've been pointing out, and her efforts to undermine the confidence of our elections and to not seek justice and transparency for the events of January 6th, but she's a threat to our district. She's somebody that I think represents the most craven and worst part of our politics, a willingness to embrace the extreme and to undermine us coming together to actually solve problems. And we need a restoration of that great moderate majority, that moderate voice, to actually solve problems for our community.
I won't ask you the question about Homeland that somebody asked, but I'm assuming it's all fantasy, nothing even close. Matt Castelli, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate your time. Good luck. Of course, Election Day, early voting underway. Election Day is Tuesday. WYBX, Utica, Rome, it's 8:02.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Smith & Wesson is committed to empowering Americans, no matter what. With inflation hitting everywhere, we've decided to make a change. Now, you can buy a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, our most popular concealed carry firearm, at an all-new low price, $100 off MSRP. We're absorbing the costs and passing along the savings to you so you don't have to compromise on personal security. Visit smithandwesson.com to find a Shield Plus near you. Smith & Wesson. Always expect the best.
Republican J.D. Vance has a slight lead in most polls in the Ohio Senate race.
The biggest threat to American democracy today is big technology companies in bed with the communist Chinese who are censoring information about American politics.
Vance at a Fox News town hall. He shared the stage with his opponent, Democrat Tim Ryan.
Ohio Representative Tim Ryan says his state needs more cops and better paid cops to fight rising crime. Ryan said during a Fox News town hall he supported federal plans to help officers be better at stopping crime.
We need to make sure that we invest into police training, and that's why we put hundreds of millions, billions of dollars into the rescue package for state and local government so that we can fund the police.
Ryan adds that he is also a supporter of decriminalizing and legalizing marijuana. Representative Ryan is facing Republican J.D. Vance to fill the seat being vacated by Republican Rob Portman. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Russia agrees to return to a deal allowing grain and other exports out of ports in Ukraine during the invasion that was suspended over the weekend, with Russia accusing Ukraine of a drone attack against its fleet in the Black Sea. A rapper's record company says it was a stray bullet that killed him in Houston.
Houston police say they don't believe rapper Takeoff was involved in anything criminal when two gunmen shot and killed him at a bowling alley early Tuesday. Takeoff was a member of the group Migos. Police say the gunman showed up at a private event of about 40 people and opened fire, killing the rapper. But many of the witnesses scattered and ran before police could question them. Houston's mayor is asking anyone who was at the party that has information about the gunman to help police solve the murder. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
Stock futures are flat ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News.
Good morning. Mostly cloudy skies. We're up to 51 degrees. WIBX News Time 8:05. I'm Jeff Manaske. The race to be New York's next governor could be turning into a toss-up. Depends on who you ask, though. Republican Lee Zeldin is closing in on incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul. Pollsters agree the election is at least getting closer. Who's actually leading at this point? As I mentioned, it depends on who you ask. One GOP-leaning poll has Zeldin slightly ahead of Hochul. Another has him slightly trailing her. However, most polls still show Hochul with a wider, healthy lead that has slimmed in recent weeks. The candidates have been bringing political heavyweights onto the campaign trail as Election Day nears. Next Tuesday, the 8th, is Election Day. Early voting is underway right now in New York State. You can find a list of polling locations and hours in Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison counties at WIBX950.com. A Chittenango man killed in a one-vehicle crash in Madison County Tuesday. Authorities say 60-year-old Ricky Payon was traveling on North Butler Road in Smithfield when he went off the roadway and struck a tree, wound up in a ditch. He died from his injuries at the hospital. Not clear what caused the accident. Police say speed and alcohol were not factors. Madison County deputies trying to track down those responsible for a string of recent burglaries at an elementary school in Morrisville. Multiple people have entered the Edward Andrews Elementary School over the last few days and taken property from the building, and a couple of times they raided the cafeteria for some midnight snacks. The crimes happened around 12:30 a.m. on October 28th last week, and it happened overnight Sunday to Monday, and then overnight Monday to Tuesday of this week. One person has been arrested in connection with the incident, but authorities have not released much information. Anyone with information on the break-ins is asked to contact the Sheriff's Office 366-2311. Two people continuing to recover after being hurt in an explosion in downtown Rochester. Officials say they were working to replace a live transformer behind what's known as the Gannett Building in Rochester when the blast occurred. One victim suffered burns to his face, arms, and hands. Another was able to avoid any serious injury. Power was cut briefly, but restored a short time later. SUNY campuses across New York State now required to have life-saving opioid overdose reversal drugs. Campuses now must have Narcan opioid overdose kits in dorms, and they must train resident assistants on how to use them. The law also applies to CUNY campuses in New York. The bill was first proposed by Senator Michelle Hinchey, who says every second counts during an opioid overdose. And the Trump Organization fraud trial being put on hold. Jeffrey McConney, the Trump Organization's controller and a key witness, reportedly tested positive for COVID-19 during a lunch break yesterday. That brought the trial to an immediate halt just one day after it began. Trump's organization is on trial for criminal tax fraud after allegedly skirting taxes and giving perks to top executives. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump are the company's executive vice presidents. Donald Trump himself is not personally accused of any wrongdoing in the case. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast, calling for a forecast that seems more May, really, than November. We have mostly cloudy skies right now, becoming gradually sunny as we head toward the afternoon. A high today of 63 degrees. Overnight tonight, we'll have some fog developing between 9 and midnight. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies, a low of 43. Thursday, mostly sunny, a high of 69 degrees. Friday, sunny. Again, a high just shy of 70. Saturday, partly sunny, will be into the mid-70s, Bill. Sunday, we do have a chance of rain showers, but that high temperature still staying in the lower 70s. Again, a great forecast here for first week in November.
Crazy. They say the warmest start to the month of November in the last 120 years. Pretty wild.
We're only a day and a half in, though. Anyway, it's right now cloudy skies, 51 degrees. WIBX News Time 8:09. Here's Keeler with sports.
All right, last night, of course, the World Series. The Philadelphia Phillies now lead the World Series 2-1 after blowing out the Astros 7-0 in Game 3. Philly combined for 5 home runs as a team, and that includes a 2-run shot by Bryce Harper in the bottom of the first inning. It was a big win for the Phillies. They lead the series 2-1. The trade deadline underway in the NFL. The Dolphins are loading up their pass rush with a blockbuster trade. Miami sent a 2023 first-round draft pick, a 2024 fourth-rounder, and running back Chase Edmonds to the Broncos in exchange for linebacker Bradley Chubb and a 2025 fifth-round pick. Chubb led Denver with 5.5 sacks this season, expected to work out a long-term deal with the Dolphins. And some sad news in the sports world. The Giants are mourning the loss of one of their former head coaches. John McVay has died. He was 91 years old.
Yeah, very sad.
Spent 22 years with the Giants.
Less sad, but also causing me some heartache, is that the trade deadline came and went, and the Giants didn't make a move. They were reportedly in the mix for 3 key wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, Chase Claypool, and another one. Claypool ended up getting traded to what? Pittsburgh?
No, he went
from
to,
Pittsburgh.
He went from Pittsburgh to the Bears.
To the Bears. I mean, they're terrible. We're getting outbid by a team.
And the Bills made some moves, but nothing like Miami did.
What was the move? You guys got the running back.
Yeah, we got Najee Himes from Indianapolis, but we ended up trading Zach Moss, and we ended up picking up a quarterback from the Falcons for a 6th or 7th rounder.
That Hines pickup, I think, could be a good one.
Could be. Anyway, Comets tonight are at the Adirondack Bank Center hosting the Providence Bruins. Game time is 7 o'clock when the puck drops at the Adirondack Bank Center.
Plenty of comments here.
All right, let's get into
some good ones.
Sure.
You want to do them right now?
Sure,
Okay.
we'll throw. Actually, a lot of people on Matt Costelli. Why don't we break and come back and talk a little bit about that? Many comments. What did you think? You can certainly call in if you'd like. Costelli running against Elise Stefanik. I think it's a long haul for him to win in such a rural district, a leaning Republican district. I think she's tough to beat. Interesting. Take your comments on it. 812. We'll do it next to WIBX.
Every day at NBT Bank,
We focus our business around all the ways we can help yours. We're large enough to offer leading business and digital solutions, but local enough to ensure personalized one-on-one service. So turn to NBT Bank for a full range of business solutions, like capital and treasury management services, even fraud protection, and see how NBT Bank is just the right size to help you do big things. Visit nbtbank.com to learn more and start a conversation. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Two very different people are running to become the next Oneida County clerk. One has made wild, false claims in her commercials, picked fights with the county executive, the county legislature, and others. She denigrates anyone who disagrees and clearly believes that her law degree has given her superpowers and the know-how to do everybody else's job. On the other side, there's Mary Finnegan, a level-headed, common-sense leader who served as clerk in the town of Whitestown for the last 17 years. She wrote and won a grant that modernized the office, made customer service a priority, and now wants to do the same for Oneida County. She will keep the Rome DMV open, and she'll work to improve the experience at all DMV locations. All this while protecting the public's private information. The fact is, there's no one better suited for this job. This election, please vote for experience. Vote Mary Finnegan, Oneida County Clerk, paid for by Friends of Mary Finnegan.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons. Sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, "Best product I've ever used," and "Amazing, I love my Navage." Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Would you vote for Biden, Pelosi, Kathy Hochul? Of course not. Then why would you ever support Matt Castelli, a downstate Democrat? Never voted here before. Castelli supports Biden's latest spending spree that increases inflation, raises home heating oil, and is the largest tax increase ever. And like Hochul, Castelli supports a gun ban. This election, say no to Biden, Pelosi, Hochul, and no way to Matt Castelli.
I'm Elise Stefanik. Every day I go to work with one thing in mind, getting results for upstate New York. From securing millions for our seniors, veterans, and local hospitals, to leading the fight to stop Biden's inflation crisis. I'll always back the blue and defend our Second Amendment. And I'm not afraid to take on the radical left who think they know better. They don't. I'm Elise Stefanik, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message because I would be honored to continue serving you.
Paid for by Elise for Congress.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work.
Well, River Hills Properties continues to be the fastest growing real estate company here in Central New York because nobody sells homes like River Hills. Bill and Robin Monjo, over 10 years ago, decided, let's create a real estate agency that is different, offers different services, doesn't use the lockbox. To this date, that's still a huge point why people make decisions to go with River Hills Properties. It is the fact that they don't use the lockbox. Every time your house is shown, your listing agent is there to walk people through the property. For us, when we sold our home, which is now 6 years ago, that was a big selling point for us. We wanted someone to be there when the house was shown. And the only one we could find that would do it was River Hills. That created the relationship and the situation where we are today, where this is a real estate company we truly believe in. And the other thing is, Bill and Robin Monjo talk about the market and the real estate market around the country. You're hearing so many alarming stories around the country, but here in this area, it hasn't changed all that much at all. It's still a very active real estate market. And if you're looking for a real estate agency that will assist you every step of the way from start to finish, whether it's the lack of the lockbox, your listing agent being there when the house is shown, or it's the book that has up to 100 pages of information on the home. Everything there is to know, from warranties to improvements. It almost turns it doesn't almost, it does. It turns into the manual for the house for the person who buys the property. In Barneville, Little Falls, and Utica, it's River Hills Properties. Online, visit their website, riverhillspropertiesllc.com. Call 315-896-1009. 315-896-1009. Remember, nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, let's go through some comments. Matt Castelli was on. He is a Democrat running against a very different Democrat, by the way, running against Elise Stefanik. And it was asked whether or not he had been recruited. I do think that, to be honest, I think parties on both sides recruit candidates all the time, all the way from the top, all the way down to the local level, right? Recruiting candidates, trying to find the best candidates they can find. But I do think Democrats have made they've made a bit of a change. They're going. You see several candidates with a military background, veterans. Someone in this case with Castelli who has a CIA background. I think that's a conscious change because after years and years, it seemed that Republicans owned the military vote and Democrats did not. And I think they made a conscious decision to change that. Yeah, Castelli would be a good example in there. Some of the comments you have.
All right, this is from Ed. The democracy is being taken away from people in New York State and Americans from the Democratic Party, mandating everything from vaccines, stay at home, will pay you green energy, higher taxes, higher fuel, electrical bills with no plan of what's next, just implementing policy. To one of the comments Mr. Castelli made, I'm not sure which, he says, that's a lie. We have no oil. We gave our reserve to China. And he also commented that green energy doesn't work. Again, that's from Ed and Alien.
Listen, I thought his answer was pretty fair on green energy. Green energy does work. You see people and countries around the world that are using electric vehicles. His answer was that it's got to be a combination. It just can't be an all or nothing. Like we turn the key and all of a sudden we're going with electric vehicles and electric everything else. It needs to be a combination of everything. But to say that that's not the future is like saying you still have an 8-track player in your car.
Right. I think a more immediate future.
Right now,
his answer was all of the above.
All of the above,
should be all
which
of the
I think
above.
is a fair answer that you hear from Republicans as well. He gave a Republican answer there.
Bill in Utica says there's a reason this guy is going to get crushed at the polls. And Steve says he wanted me to ask him this, but it was right at the end. Would he vote for Joe Biden in 2024? I would have been interested in
That's
that
a better
answer.
question than his answer directly said he would not vote for Trump. I don't know how anybody could give Biden the advice to run again, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every day he progressively, this is an oxymoron, each day he progressively walks slower to the podium.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. And I have a couple here. Bill Morehouse. What time does this guy take the stage Friday night at Fat Cats Comedy Club?
Ooh.
Okay, William. I know where you're going. And this is why I think her district is, the district he's running for is very Republican. I find it very difficult. And he has a very difficult challenge. He'd be much better off running in the 22nd, where Brandon Williams is, and Knoll. I find this is a tough, and she's a very powerful member of Congress who will be much more powerful if Republicans take the House. I find it very interesting, and they're all in. He's working his tail off. He's all over the state, all over the district, and all over TV. They're spending a lot of money. Interesting, right?
I can't wait to see the results. And I'll remind everybody, early voting locations and hours. You can find a list on our website. And early voting continues through Sunday. Election Day is Tuesday.
All right, each day this week we've announced a Mohawk Valley Edge The name of the award is
Leading Edge
Leading
Awards.
Edge Award. And each week or each day this week, we are focusing on a different business. Today, it's Cold Point. And with Cold Point is Steve Schreppel on the line right now. Steve, good morning. Thanks for coming on, and congratulations.
Well, good morning, Bill, and thank you.
Tell us about Cold Point and what you do.
Yeah, we're at the end of the day, we're a manufacturing company. We build heating and cooling equipment, specifically water source heat pumps. We focus on the replacement market, so we get involved in older facilities, older buildings, where the air conditioning and heating has run through its life cycle, and we build a replacement unit for them.
And then you had a rather large expansion back in 2021.
Yeah, we built a new 50,000 square foot building, state of the art, very modern, bright colors, clean, and just this past year we fully air conditioned the facility. So the whole plant, the whole facility is air conditioned.
That certainly is, considering that's the business you're in. That's probably a pretty big step right there.
Yeah, but a little bit unusual in the Northeast having an air conditioning plant, but yes, it is. It is. We should have an air conditioning facility, right?
And then talk, if you could, about how you've made your way through COVID and going into 2022. Some of the highlights of this year.
Yeah, I mean, COVID took its toll on everybody. Our markets are quite diverse, so we're involved in the hospitality hotel market, so that actually, took quite a downturn. But with that, we're in the assisted living markets, so those facilities were going strong, and and certainly our elderly cannot be without heating or cooling, so that stayed strong during that time frame.
Okay. And what else should people know about Cold Point? Located in Rome, what do you want the public here to know about your company?
Yeah, we're growing. We continue to grow. We have a good backlog of orders for next year. So we are hiring, like many companies are. We have positions, throughout manufacturing and some professional positions as well. So we focus on our people. Where our day shifts are 7 to 3:30. Everybody's able to get home to see their kids' games and scholastic events after school. So we just have an alternative to some of the other local types of businesses.
Okay.
You said you're hiring. Tell us about what you've got available.
Yeah, we have in the manufacturing side of things. We in 2022 we fully equipped a third assembly line. So we're working hard towards completing that from a staffing level. For 2023, we are in the process of setting up our fourth assembly line. So we will certainly need that. In the professional side of it, we have engineering positions available where our sales team needs to grow. So we have some other positions, in the office as well.
And the company is relatively a young company. Just to give people a little background on your history.
Well, our company is a little over 20 years old. We started, from scratch, some in 1999. So we've weathered through, 20 years of success. In the last 5 years, or about 5 years ago, our company was purchased or acquired by the Whalen Company, which is another air conditioning outfit out of Easton, Maryland. So our company is well established. This is just a new direction here in the last 5 years.
All right. Well, listen, congratulations on the award from Mohawk Valley Edge. There are only a few of these recipients, and you guys are one of them. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah.
Steve Schreppel. The company is Cold Point in the city of Rome.
Yes, he is the president, and we appreciate Steve taking a few minutes to join us here. And again, they're hiring, so if you're looking for work, it seems like they're like everybody else right now. They are hiring.
Coming up in a bit, Andrew Reed, attorney Andrew Reed. We'll speak with him on, we'll throw 3 topics at him, legal topics, and get his take on each of those 3 topics. We'll do that coming up. Jeff has an update in a bit. We'll break at 8:27 now at WIBX.
If you're like most Americans, you're pretty much in disbelief watching the world lose its mind. As we all know, global problems have local consequences, too many of them. And if the next news headline spins us into chaos, are you ready? Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Today's the day to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. Our food kits are in stock and ship quickly and discreetly to your door. Having food storage in your home beats standing in government food lines. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
My name is Beth Coombs. In October of 2021, with no warning, my adorable, perfect, intelligent mom was diagnosed with a brain tumor after suffering a devastating stroke. To say we were drowning in our grief and shock is an understatement. Once we understood the prognosis, we brought her home. Within 2 weeks, we made the decision to involve hospice. Calling hospice was the hardest phone call I have ever made. I felt like I was giving up hope, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Hospice saved me. They made the last few months of my mom's life bearable. Georgia, our aide, took care of my mom like she was her own. Having their compassionate, caring staff available to talk to at any hour was a sense of relief I can't put into words. They handled everything so we could grieve and just be together. Please make the call.
Hospice and Palliative Care, servicing Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison County. Middle Settlement Road, New Hartford, 315-735-6484, or visit us at hospicecareinc.org. Hospice and Palliative Care. When you need us most.
Hi, this is John Calabrese. Is your company looking to hire qualified, dependable employees but unsure of where to look? Let Express Employment Professionals take on the recruitment and hiring process for you. We're a locally owned, full-service staffing firm. We'll help you find your next star employees. Business decisions come down to time and money, and Express can save you both. We take on finding employees for you so you can focus on meeting your business goals. Find us on the web at expressmohawkvalley.com for details on how to get started. Are you looking for a great job? Stop searching. ECR International is hiring for assemblers and maintenance technicians. You could be working for the company that actually helped kickstart the world-famous Boilermaker Road Race. Both of the positions that we're currently hiring for offer excellent pay with a full benefits package. Instead of waking up every day dreading work, wake up and have a fulfilling job working for a great local company. Work for ECR International. To find out more, just call Express Employment at 315-790-5723.
Hey, I want to tell you about Mazda. Right now, save on a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle at Steed Potty Mazda, where we only select the best of the best late model Mazda vehicles for you, says Ricky Z. They offer award-winning Mazda certified pre-owned vehicles with a 160-point inspection and the 7-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. And if you need a lower price or payment, Rick says, let's make your deal on a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle. And see why their customers always say it's always easy to do business at Steed Potty Mazda. All right, Friday night, Saturday night at Fat Cats Comedy Club. Eric Grady, and if you get a chance to look this guy up, hilarious comedian, and he just so happens to be the world's tallest stand-up comic. He'll tower on that stage. Shows are Friday night and Saturday night. Go to fatcatscomedyclub.com. Coming up before 9, we'll give you a chance to win a table for 6 at one of this weekend's shows. Your chance before 9 o'clock. We'll tell you when to call in. Right now, Manaski with an update on news. It's 8:31 at WIBX.
All right, thank you, Bill. President Biden back in Washington, D.C. after a trip to Florida. Today he's slated to view workforce training demonstrations by labor unions and leading companies at the White House. The president will also give remarks on steps to strengthen the infrastructure talent pipeline. Biden is expected to resume midterm election campaign stops later this week. Republicans are ahead of Democrats by 2 points on a generic congressional ballot. That's according to a Wall Street Journal poll that found 46% of voters would vote for a GOP candidate versus 44% who would vote for a Democrat. While that lead is within the margin of error, it's an improvement for Republicans since August when Democrats led by 3 points. Senator Lindsey Graham will have to appear in court as part of an elections investigation in Georgia. The Supreme Court decided yesterday to lift a stay after the South Carolina Republican challenged an order for him to testify in Fulton County Court. At issue are 2 phone calls he made to Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger after the 2020 election. Graham is scheduled to appear November 17th. The Parkland, Florida school shooter is due to be formally sentenced later today to life in prison without parole. Nicholas Cruz pleaded guilty last year to all charges in connection to the 2018 shooting that killed 17 at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Survivors and grieving relatives of victims faced Cruz in court Tuesday, with some expressing anger over a jury's decision not to recommend that he be given the death penalty. An FCC commissioner wants to ban TikTok in the U.S. Brendan Carr, one of 5 FCC commissioners, said in an interview with Axios he's concerned over the Chinese-owned social media app and how it handles data of American users. TikTok has been working with the U.S. government to address security concerns and says Carr is not involved in those discussions. The Trump administration expressed interest in banning TikTok in 2020 over similar concerns. The Philadelphia Phillies leading the World Series now 2-1 after a blowout win last night. Philly combined for 5 home runs as a team, including a 2-run shot from Bryce Harper. They lead the best-of-7 series 2-1. Philly will also host Game 4 tonight. Aaron Nola will get the start, opposed by the Astros' Christian Javier. Houston will be looking to even the series at 2 games apiece. A large earthquake struck off the coast of Southern California last night. The U.S. Geological Survey says it was a magnitude 6.0, centered deep in the ocean, roughly between San Diego and Hawaii. No tsunami warnings were issued for the California coast. 3 major retailers, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart, tentatively agreeing to pay at least $12 billion to settle opioid-related lawsuits. The chains were sued by thousands of state and local governments over accusations of mishandling the highly addictive drug. The deal calls for CVS to pay $4.9 billion, Walgreens at least $4 billion, and at least $3 billion from Walmart. An estimated 9.5 million Americans aged 12 and older reported in 2020 to have misused opioids, including 9.3 million prescription pain relief abusers and over 900,000 heroin users. And one more story. I think this just came over. Oh, yeah. I saw a bulletin come up. I can't believe it's for this. Starbucks holiday cups return tomorrow.
And that's a bulletin? Wow.
I think we're overusing the term bulletin.
I got to tell you, all the Christmas music is out now. I can't even believe it. But all these radio stations that play Christmas music all season long, many of them have already started their Christmas music. Used to be they'd wait till Thanksgiving. Now it's Halloween.
Yeah, or as soon as it's over, like the day after Halloween.
I think Walmart online has their Black Friday specials up right now.
Are you kidding?
Yep. You could save big on whatever deals they're doing, and I think they're different deals every single day. It's not going to feel like Thanksgiving because, at least right now, not feeling like November.
Definitely not. Mostly cloudy right now, and we have 49 degrees. It will become increasingly sunny through the day today with a high reaching 63. Tonight, some patchy fog between 9 and midnight. Otherwise, partly cloudy, a low of 43. And then a real nice warm-up again for the weekend. We head into the weekend. I'm telling you, it's like 9 out of 10 weeks, 90% of the time this year we head into the weekend like, wow, look at this weather.
Saturday will actually be warm.
Thursday, sunny, 69. Friday, sunny, 69. Saturday, partly sunny, 74. Sunday, chance of showers, 50%. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, a high of 72. Monday, sunny, 69. Tuesday, sunny, 66.
Wow. Okay, Davey, let's do Fat Cats Comedy Club. I mentioned to you the comedian this weekend is known as the world's tallest stand-up comic. Eric Grady is hilarious. He's doing shows Friday night and Saturday night. We'll give a table for 6 to caller number 1. First caller through the lines, 315-736-0186. You get a table for 6. Any show this weekend, Davey will hook you up right now, 315-736-0186.
He looks like Dr. Stephen Kusin, who is in the Utica area. You know,
yeah.
He's obviously a doctor. He's written a couple books as well. He's been on the show, but he's got that big, fluffy, furry, cone-shaped beard that comes down. You're a comedian I'm talking about.
That fits him probably perfectly, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You, on the other hand, have taken No Shave November and just thrown it out the window.
Well, I shaved. It was actually Halloween. So I
You were looking burly.
Yeah.
And that's gone now. You're
it's completely gone.
done with that.
I'm still adjusting to it. People look at me like,
Who is this guy?
Yeah. And I was called the 12-year-old in the hallway the other day, but I guess if the shoe fits. And I don't know if that was a reflection of how I looked or my my personality and my some of my comments.
Was it a
on the show.
compliment or was that a slap in the face?
Not sure.
Quick break coming up. Attorney Andrew Reed, interesting legal stories, plus some of the great stories that are out there this morning that will blow your mind. We'll do that next at 8:37.
In Albany, the only political party that matters is the majority party.
I'm Assemblywoman Mary Ann Buttonshaw, and I'm a member of the Assembly's majority. As a member of the Assembly, I do more for the Mohawk Valley. More funding for Utica, Rome, and Whitesboro schools than ever before. Almost $500,000 for local fire departments. $125,000 for the town of Deerfield. More funding from Albany means a stronger Mohawk Valley. Wolfspeed means good jobs. The Nexus Center means more recreation and tourism opportunities. Griffiths Business and Technology Park assures our future in high-tech economy. As a member of the Assembly, I brought your voice and your values to the state capitol and brought back expanded youth and senior program funding for our cities and towns and $1 million to assist our youth in crisis at the House of Good Shepherd. Given the chance, I'll do more. That's why the Friends of Mary Ann Buttonshaw paid for this message.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons. Sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, best product I've ever used, and amazing, I love my Navage. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
At AmeriQ Credit Union, we believe real connections matter, today more than ever. Whether it's connecting you to the right solutions to achieve your goals, new technology to make banking easier, or a real person to help you succeed, we'll be here. In person, online, or anywhere in between, creating meaningful connections that make you feel like you belong. AmeriQ and you. Let's connect. Membership restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
The dark web can be like a restaurant for identity thieves.
Hi, ready to order?
I'll have the driver's license number.
Great, that comes with a home address or a birth date.
Ooh, both, please.
It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Hey, talk about Adirondack Bank. You can begin your ADK experience at AdirondackBank.com. From eco-checking to mobile banking to personal and home loans, a mortgage may be the perfect mortgage. It is drafted specifically for your needs at Adirondack Bank. They've been supporting local for years. You'll always receive outstanding customer service at Adirondack Bank, your local banking experts. 14 locations in the area. And with their mobile banking app, Adirondack is just a click, a call, or a short drive away. You'll always be treated like a neighbor, not a number, at your hometown bank. Visit any one of their locations today or go to AdirondackBank.com to begin your ADK experience. Adirondack Bank, member FDIC.
Mark Rose's experience is unique. City Court Judge in Little Falls for the last 14 years. Visiting judge for Utica. As a 30-year practicing attorney, Mark Rose has argued cases at all levels up to the Court of Appeals. He's served as a municipal attorney in towns and villages across New York's 5th Judicial District. And now Mark Rose is running for state Supreme Court to serve all of us. Experience, integrity, Mark Rose for State Supreme Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mark Rose for State Supreme Court.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
McCullers to Harper. It's drilled. Right center field. Lightning strikes. 2-0 Phil. Adam Cole starts the second and rips one to left field. Over Alvarez and gone. And zip. Marsh hits a fly ball to right field. It's off the top of the wall and gone. The third home run for the Phillies. Schwarber flies it to center field. McCormick's going back. He's at the track. He's at the wall. Monstrous blast! Hoskins with a drive, left field, wow! An explosion! The South Philly Bombers with 5!
Oh, boy. I mean, I don't want to, it shouldn't be sour grapes, but it's the Phillies. Come on. Are you kidding me?
In fairness, I will say, in watching the game last night, they have a great atmosphere there.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
whatever
they do.
Trash can they've named their ballpark. By the way, that is such a tiny park. I don't really love the guy who's doing play-by-play. His name's Joe Davis. Yeah, thanks, Smitty. There it goes, crushed. I mean, that's one of the smaller parks in all of baseball, and those balls were barely getting out.
Yeah.
So he makes it sound like it was an explosion. It was a line drive that, another 2 inches lower, it would have been probably a long single. Anyway, I don't want to rain on their parade. In fairness, I have been impressed with the Phillies. They have an incredibly dangerous lineup. I mean, anybody in that lineup can go deep, especially 1 through 6. I don't want to see them win the World Series, but I have to say I'm no fan of the Astros. So
a disappointing end for the Mets, a disappointing end for the Yankees this year. In a year that we thought at one point, boy, we could be talking about a Subway Series, and there'll be none of that, right?
Well, we can talk about it.
We can talk about it. We'll talk about, what year was it, 2000? We can talk about it, but it certainly didn't happen this year. We talked about this earlier, and it's the program about, it's a series about a murder where a man, I believe it's called The Staircase, where a man was charged and then ultimately convicted of killing his wife by pushing her down the stairs.
Was he famous as well? Was he like an actor or writer,
I believe
producer?
I think he was a physician or something
okay.
out in maybe New England.
I started watching this.
Yeah, well, it turns out that his family is like, no, he's guilty. Even his kids are like, he killed my mother. But now there's a woman who's come forward, and she did some investigating, and they've determined that it's possible that the woman was actually killed by an owl. So she was
in the house, though?
She was out in the front yard putting up Christmas decorations out of nowhere. They were out in their pool. So maybe this was more on a warmer climate. They were out at their pool, which is in the backyard, some distance. And she, after a couple glasses of wine, she decided, I'm just going to put out these figurines or whatever, these Christmas decorations out in the front yard. And then the next thing you know, she had fallen down the stairs and died. It's believed that she was attacked. I mean, they're trying to say that she was attacked by the owl, which took its claws and just dug right into her scalp. And because she was bleeding and it punctured something, she was trying to walk upstairs, lost consciousness, fell downstairs, they're saying. And that is how she died, not by at the hands of her husband. So there's now a story out today that we were talking about, and there have been recent owl attacks. And in this one case, in Washington State, the woman was attacked twice by the same owl. What's going on when owls attack? What's going through their
I don't know.
Their owl minds? I don't know. But I'll tell you that owls can be pretty large, so beware. They can be killers. NBC starts with Owl Week, not Shark Week.
Yes.
Next week.
That's
not true, but it could be.
The place where that happened, by the way, the staircase and the setting was in Forest Hills, which is part of Durham, North Carolina.
Okay, makes sense. Warmer climate. They were out at their pool. You know.
How much do you want to bet that in some bizarre twist, Christine Bellino is currently caring for an owl that was involved in this miniseries?
Could be. Christine loves to take care of damaged animals.
And she likes pets, too.
A kind heart, Christine, with a kind heart.
Yes, she does.
How about this story? Can you imagine? You've lost consciousness. You're scuba diving. Javier Clarimont was diving off the coast of Catalina Island in California, lost consciousness. To his good fortune, a group of women dressed up as, believe it or not, you wake up and you look around, you're being rescued by women in mermaid outfits. So they got the whole mermaid thing on. There was some sort of a group, I don't know. To his good fortune, a group of women dressed as mermaids rescued him. Apparently, the mermaids were in the middle of a mermaid rescue course to learn safety when swimming dressed as a mermaid. Dumbest thing I've ever heard. When they saw him struggling, and they jumped into action. Here are the group of divers that Javier was with, and the woman who rescued him, Elena Maria Garcia, the mermaid, explaining exactly what went down.
We're pulling them, and we're getting a little winded and a little tired out. And then out of nowhere, just a bunch of mermaids show up.
While we were practicing our mermaid rescue scenarios of rescuing another mermaid, I see him coughing foam, which is a telltale sign in diving of an air embolism.
So he started doing CPR. Right in the water. She
right
comes
in
in,
the
water,
which
is and great. Just mouth to mouth and just trying to get air into Pablo, making sure that he's okay.
And now I know for sure I can rescue a scuba diver in a mermaid tail, which I think is crazy.
Then after she saved him, she just went out into the ocean and disappeared. I don't think that happened, but, that's what would happen in the mermaid movies. And one more. IKEA is suing an indie game developer for creating a horror survival video game that is set in a furniture store chain that looks remarkably blue and yellow, like an IKEA. The store is closed, which is the name of the game created by Jacob Shaw, is available for pre-order on Kickstarter. And there's a trailer for it. I'll play the trailer and just give you an idea. If you've ever been to an IKEA, you could identify with this, I'm telling you.
Have you ever gotten lost in one of those big furniture stores? Well, I've been stuck in this one for days. It just seems to go on forever. I'd ask a staff member for help, but I don't think they're even human. And worst of all, at night, the lights go out.
Store is shut. Why haven't you left? The store is closed.
Now, there's your video game. And actually, the video game, the toughest part of the video game is when you actually have to put the furniture together. If you've ever been to IKEA, it all comes in a box, and you got to put it all together. And they're not necessarily American English directions. It's a Swedish company. So sometimes the directions don't quite make sense.
Also, on the lawsuit end of it, look, okay, it's a blue and yellow store or whatever warehouse, but he identifies it's a furniture store.
It's
could
blue,
Walmart
it's yellow,
sue
I don't know.
Any video game that's got a quote big box store?
Although if you
can
make
Walmart sue them?
If you make a mistake, you end up in the garage, the parking garage, and all of a sudden you hear a guy yell, "Oh my God, I can't fit this in my car!" And if you've ever been to IKEA, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Honey, there's no way we're getting all this stuff in the car. Well, you're going to find a way to do it. We got to get this home.
6-hour trip home.
Oh, my Lord. Got my kid holding out the window, trying to hold the big box on the roof of the car. Andrew Reed is an attorney. Good morning, Andrew. Good morning. Have you ever been to IKEA, Andrew?
I actually have not.
Okay, well, I've just given you the whole horror story in a nutshell. There you have it.
That definitely sounded like an interesting situation there,
yes.
For sure.
As we were driving away, my wife said, "Next time, we're bringing a U-Haul." And believe me, that's the only way you can get away with that store. It's unbelievable. And then you bring it all home, and you got to put it together. Okay, Andrew, as an attorney, we appreciate your legal mind here, and I'm going to throw 3 topics at you, and let's discuss, all right?
All right.
Topic 1, a woman who borrowed $200 from best friend refuses to pay it back after the best friend tries hooking up with her boyfriend. What do you think?
That one's an interesting one because, unfortunately, for most states in the United States, if there was no written contract, it's going to be hard to recover anything. So it's one probably. It sounds like there's some other extenuating factors here that may come into play. So it's one. This one probably is not going to go anywhere, I would think personally.
Yeah, and I almost feel like I'm with the girl who doesn't want to pay the money back.
Right.
You know, it's like her friend, yes, she was nice enough to give her the $200, but then she takes her boyfriend. I mean, not cool. Just not cool. I know how we all feel. Sometimes we feel a certain way about an issue, but the law looks at it differently. But in this case, without that written contract, she may be out of luck, right?
She might be.
Yeah.
It's one. Now, some courts may still try to enforce it based on, especially if there was several others that heard her say, for example, oh, yeah, I'll pay you that back, or I'll pay it back by such and such date, things of that nature. If you have several people there, that could maybe be enforceable, but it's one of those that'll be very dicey. And in all reality, this is a case, it's over $200. Unfortunately, for most people, getting an attorney involved is going to cost way more than that. So,
this is a really interesting story. So, a terminally ill man is being requested. His parents are saying you got to cash out your life insurance to take care of your final couple months of your life. And he's saying, no, this is going to, see if I have this right. He's saying, no, I'm not going to do that. And I want this money to go to you, my parents. But there's become a legal issue. Explain this whole story.
It's actually the reverse of what you just said.
Okay,
So he wants to cash it out so that he can enjoy some activities and leisure with his last few days here on Earth.
I see.
But his parents want him to keep the policy because they want to get the benefits of it. So what's intriguing here is, from what's been reported, is the parents bought the policy originally.
Okay.
And so they were originally the beneficiaries. It's unclear, but it sounds like it was bought with the idea that eventually if you got married, had kids, the beneficiary would change over at that time.
Okay.
But now that didn't happen. He's terminally ill. So it comes into question now who technically is the policy owner and who basically has the rights to the money. So if the parents are still the policy owner, they do probably have some rights here.
Yeah.
If they transferred ownership to the son, he probably is the one that has the right to have a final say here.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't realize this until, I don't know, there's some story that popped up a while back that I could buy a life insurance policy on Manaskew sitting across from me right now. As long as I own that policy, he dies, I collect on the policy. But if I transfer that over into his name, it's his, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and that seems to be the scenario
So
here. Now I understand.
The thing that bothers me about this story, if I'm not mistaken, the parents want to cash it in. No, the parents want to wait until he dies and then reap the financial benefit. The kid wants to cash it in to help pay for his medical care while he's alive. Is that right?
From what's been reported, that's how it comes into play.
Outrageous.
And the kid wants to enjoy some activities. I think what one report said was he wanted to enjoy life on the beach.
I've heard he wants to go on a big shopping spree at IKEA. Either way, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. Let him do it. I mean, what horrible parents we're talking about here.
I'm angry about
He's
it.
going to be dead, and they're fighting over his money. Oh, boy. And then final topic, TikTok found not liable for a child who died in the blackout challenge. First of all, what is these challenges on TikTok are ridiculous. What is the blackout challenge?
So the blackout challenge apparently, and I will first say I'm not on TikTok, so it's one I'm not sure 100%, but from what I understand from the reports, the TikTok challenge is one where people will try to choke themselves and see how far they can go, either to the point of blacking out or just before blacking out. So definitely something extremely risky and not something that would be encouraged.
Yeah. Yeah. And there should be enough common sense for you to know this might not end well. And so now they're suing TikTok, and the court has ruled TikTok is not responsible.
Correct. The parents of a child that unfortunately passed away sued TikTok, saying that TikTok was negligent and that they had defects in their algorithm that caused the video to show up and that challenge to show up on their child's feed or page. And they're saying that was an encouragement for her to do it. And the judge said, no, even though they have an algorithm, that algorithm does not rise to the level of a publisher. So they're not saying they're actually creating the content. They're just providing other user-generated content. And there is a law that protects people like TikTok and entities like TikTok and Google and any other blogs or social media platforms. So as long as you're not sitting there and publishing it and creating it to the point that you're the publisher of it, then that you have a safe harbor.
I kind of agree with that, and it's the law anyway, right? So it doesn't even matter whether we agree with it or not. But man, at what point do you look at one of these challenges and realize, well, I could die from this, maybe I shouldn't do it? A little common sense. A terrible ending, but a little common sense would have been nice.
Kid was 10 years old. That's so
terrible.
sad.
Andrew Reed, thank you. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Glad to be on.
Yeah.
You too.
10 years old, right? So you're probably not, you don't have the maturity to think properly to begin with. But this kind of goes back to, you got to be careful what your 10-year-old is watching. Craziness. So many opportunities for kids to see weird stuff. Hey, we got to go. News is next on WIBX.
Julie Groh-Denton, longtime practicing attorney and law clerk in federal, state supreme, and county surrogate court. Julie Groh-Denton, high school valedictorian, honors graduate from Bucknell and Harvard Law. Julie Groh-Denton, candidate for state Supreme Court.
I'm Julie Groh-Denton. Every community deserves to have judges in whom you take great pride. From an early age, my parents instilled a love of family and a strong work ethic. Born and raised near my dad's family in Rome, vacations and holidays with my mom's family in the North Country. My career has brought me to courtrooms and law offices across our region, all while raising 2 children with my husband, driving them throughout central New York for scholastics and sports. I know our communities. I value the importance of treating others with respect. I love the law, and I will make you proud. I ask for your vote.
Elect Julie Groh-Denton to state Supreme Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Julie Groh-Denton for Supreme Court.
From the Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, Town Square Media Station.
6 more days. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. With Election Day coming up next Tuesday, Republicans like Tiffany Smiley running for Senate in Washington State are trying to convince voters they should be in control of Congress.
And at my events, Democrats are showing up, independents, undecided voters, and they're excited. They're excited about change.
She was on Fox and Friends, trailing a bit in the polls to Democrat incumbent Patty Murray. President Biden warns Republicans will cut benefits.
President Biden said if Republicans do well in these midterms, they plan to again go after the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare.
If the Republicans get their way, that's going to be gone as well. And folks, it gets even worse. They're coming after Social Security and Medicare in a big way.
He said the Inflation Reduction Act, which no Republican voted for, will help lower drug costs and empowers Medicare to negotiate drug prices. But Republicans like Florida Senator Rick Scott have said the entitlement programs are running out of money, and that needs to be addressed. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has said while they do plan to curb spending, he won't predetermine which areas should be cut. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Vice President Harris at an event in Boston today will announce federal heating assistance and rebates to make homes more energy efficient.